Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to the Journeyman Sports Podcast. Today, got a quick little thing for you guys. Just wanted to quickly talk about the new NFL coaching hires. We've had 5 new head coaches get hired into the NFL for the next upcoming season, with Sean Payton to the Denver Broncos, former Saints head coach Jonathan Gannon, defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, going to the Arizona Cardinals. Frank Reich, ex-coach of Indianapolis Colts, going to the Panthers. D'Amico Ryans, defensive coordinator of the 49ers, signing with the Houston Texans. And then Shane Steichen, offensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles, going to the Indianapolis Colts. So we got 5 good ones to talk about here. We will start it off with the biggest name and the best grade on the list. Sean Payton to the Broncos. This is going to be an A for me. Sean Payton, we know what he's done in the NFL. We know what he did with the Saints, with Drew Brees, not that long ago even. And we know exactly what his potential is with this as a coach. Sean Payton can find ways to revitalize quarterbacks, as we saw with Drew Brees. And that is the ultimate hope here in Denver with Russell Wilson. Had a pretty poor previous season, not up to the standards everyone was expecting for himself or for the team. And the Broncos are really hoping that Sean Payton can change the culture and can help to reset Russell Wilson back onto the path he was in Seattle. And that's going to be really, I think, the biggest measure of success here is how well does Russell Wilson play with Sean Payton being the new coach. And it's a very interesting thing to talk about. You know, Russell Wilson been widely seen. We've heard a lot saying that he's unsavable. There's no purpose really to even keeping him. Take the massive pay cut the pay penalty. He's been that bad. I still think there's hope for Russell Wilson. I think this greatly improves the chances of a career revitalization for him. And I'm really excited to see what this duo can do. Sean Payton did this similarly with Drew Brees when he got to New Orleans. So I'm hoping we can see some of that here as well. We know what the Denver defense is. We know that Denver has the pieces in place, but they are in a very, very tough division with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, Chargers who made the playoffs, and the Raiders who are looking like they have some potential as well. So gonna be a tough ground to break at first for Sean Payton, but I think he is easily the best hire of this whole entire group. We'll go to my next best hire. I'm gonna say D'Amico Ryans is second, and this one is also an A for me. D'Amico Ryans has been in San Francisco for a while now, and I think he's a perfect fit for this young Houston team. He's got energy. He's helped build one of the best defenses in the league over the past several years, and I think he's going to really get his shot to show just what he can do and hopefully really start to create a name for himself outside of Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. And you know, the Texans are an interesting team. They're in a division where outside of the Jaguars, really, it's kind of open season. The Titans don't really know quite what's going on with them yet. The Colts, we'll talk about them in a little bit in this video. But, I mean, the Colts are in an interesting spot too. But the AFC South is, outside of the Jaguars, really wide open. And I think Houston, they have draft capital, they have cap space, and I think D'Amico Ryans is going to bring in a culture where people are going to want to come and play for the Texans for maybe the first time in their entire franchise history. And that culture is the biggest part of head coaches. We saw Doug Peterson, Brian Dable. We saw those guys bring in new cultures immediately, and we saw just how fast the teams turned around. And I think D'Amico Ryans is a big culture guy, and I think he's going to be able to swiftly turn and pivot from this bad point in the Houston Texans franchise to a very bright future with guys like Derek Stingley, Damian Pierce. That's really about it. Maybe Brandon Cooks too. Laramie Tunsil, like they have some pieces on this team. They're gonna have to hit on their draft capital, obviously. But I mean, this defense showed flashes last year of being solid, so I'm really excited to see what D'Amico Ryans can do for the Texans. And then next, got two ties here, really A minus. We'll go ahead and talk about Shane Steichen to the Colts. Keep it in the division here in the AFC South. And the Colts were one of the most disappointing teams this season. We were hoping, we heard a lot in the offseason. Matt Ryan was the guy. He was going to be able to help run this offense. And the Colts really fell flat on their face. Jonathan Taylor was hurt for majority of the year. The offensive line, for being the best, one of the best in the league the previous few years, and then the highest paid, really took a step back and are now one of the most overpaid and underperforming lines that we have in the league. And the Colts have pieces. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Quentin Nelson is good. And they have the number 4 pick in the draft, which Shane Steichen is going to be able to get the quarterback that he wants, I believe, whether that be CJ Stroud, whether they trade up for Bryce Young, whether it's Will Levis. The Colts are going to have an opportunity to either move up and get their guy or let their guy fall to them at number 4. And I'm very interested to see just what is going to happen with the Colts, especially with the offensive line. I mean, Shane Steichen helped the Eagles offense transform this year into one of the best. We saw what he's done with Jalen Hurts. He's worked with Herbert. He's worked with a lot of big name quarterbacks. And I mean, it's going to be a slow start next year, I think, for the Colts. I'm not really expecting big things, barring a big trade or anything like that. But I think the Colts are potentially going to be apt to just wait another year, potentially trade some players like Kenny Moore, maybe Stephon Gilmore, move some of the older pieces who are going to want more money for more draft capital and really build it up that way. But I'm very interested to see just what the Colts do. I think, with Jonathan Taylor, with Pittman, with Shaq Leonard, they've got a lot of really good pieces, and they were my pick to win the AFC South. I thought they were a contender going into this year. And then for whatever reason, it just didn't work for them. So yeah, I'm gonna give the Shane Steichen hire an A minus. I think D'Amico Ryans and Shane Steichen have very bright futures ahead of them in a division that is pretty much up for grabs, if you really look at it. So we'll move to another A minus on my list, which is Frank Reich to the Carolina Panthers. This is a hire I think a lot of people are very much underestimating. Frank Reich had 6 different starting quarterbacks in his time in Indy, got them to the playoffs a couple times, had a winning record. I think Frank Reich is just a very solid coach. I think he's a good dude. I think he implements a good locker room attitude. And I mean, Carolina has a chance to be good. I mean, this division is another one that's up for grabs. Tampa Bay lost Tom Brady. We don't know how many other people they might lose because of that. The Saints are in a rebuild. The Falcons are in a solid spot, but they're rebuilding as well. And the Panthers, they have just as much talent, I think, as anyone else in this division. Sam Darnold played better towards the end of the season. Deontay Foreman, the running back, showed flashes. DJ Moore is solid. Terrence Marshall has potential. We know that secondary is good. CJ Henderson, JC Horn. And I feel like I'm forgetting another player in their secondary for some reason. Oh, Dante Jackson, Jeremy Chin, Brian Burns. Like, they have a lot of pieces that are solid, young pieces, and good. They're going to have a good draft pick again. And then Ikem Ekwonu, their first-round pick last year, is another solid player. The Carolina Panthers have a chance to really pivot they have a chance to pivot off of a bad season into a very good spot. And I think Frank Reich is the kind of coach that they really need. A guy who's been around the league, who has established himself, and you know what you are going to get from him. And to go back and talk about last year with the Jaguars, that's what I think made Doug Peterson such a good hire. With these young rosters, I think it is very valuable to take the established coaches. Make sure you get the guys who are good, who have shown they can have success in the league with varying levels of roster talent, etc. Like Frank Reich is a very good coach. I think the end in Indianapolis was very weird. That just kind of perfectly summed up that Colts season last year. But yeah, bless me. Sorry. I'm very excited for what he can do in Carolina, and I would watch for them to potentially win that division next year. Mark it right now. And then lastly, we've got Jonathan Gannon going to the Cardinals. I'm giving this one a C. I don't know much about Jonathan Gannon. I know that the Eagles defense was solid last year, but we saw in the Super Bowl they were gettable. Like they got destroyed. It was the Chiefs. Also understand that. But I mean, this Arizona team is really it's a mess. We've talked a lot on this show about how good can Kyler Murray really come back from an ACL with his main strength being his mobility. He already has the size limitations. DeAndre Hopkins might want out. Salary cap hell. All the Cardinals are just a mess. JJ Watt retired. That defense is bad. I mean, hopefully he can at least fix one side of the ball. I don't know why this is going so dark. Hopefully he can at least fix one side of the ball in Arizona. Obviously, I don't think they're going to have great expectations next year, just especially because I'm assuming Kyler Murray won't come back till about halfway through the year. And it's just a bad, bad situation. And I mean, someone was going to have to take the job eventually. I mean, I'm rooting for him. I hope they turn it around, but that division is pretty good. And I think it could be a little bit of a struggle there for Arizona for a while. So that was my coaching report card on all the new head coaching hires. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this, what you guys would grade the different hires. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm Garrett, just one half of the show. Cade is busy right now, but I just wanted to make sure recorded this a little bit in advance for all of you guys, just so we can really try and keep with the consistency that we're trying to maintain. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been the Journeyman Sports Podcast. We'll see you next time.